Hi, welcome to our live today. And today I'm going to be talking about something very interesting, which is revolving around this fact actually that are your relationships basically centered around pleasing other people? At the face of it, you might say no, right? But think, are your relationships centered around pleasing other people? Now, pleasing somebody you love, it's a different matter. That's a different tangent altogether. But generally speaking, are you most of the time find yourself pleasing others? My young friend, she's about 30 years of age. When she got married, she realized that she was not supposed to wear certain kinds of clothes because her in-laws were very particular on the kind of clothes she should not be wearing or the kind of clothes she should be wearing. Then when she used to go to her parents house, there also parents would tell her that since she has got married, so what are the certain kinds of clothes she should and should not be wearing. When it came to her husband, he was extremely particular about the kind of clothes she should be wearing when they were going for party, for get-togethers with friends, get-togethers in the family. So he also had that kind of uh, thoughts in him, and she would just abide by what people were saying. So in laws function, she would dress accordingly. Parents home, she had to go, she would dress accordingly. When she was stepping out with her husband and there was a get together, she had to dress accordingly. And when she and I were chatting one day, she says, I'm so fed up, Parul, I love to wear certain kind of clothes and I'm just not able to. And she's a working woman. So there also, certain kind of a decorum needs to be maintained. She says, I feel trapped, though it's a matter of clothes, but I feel so trapped as if, my freedom is gone. Now, this is with regards to clothes, but how many times do you come across those scenarios, those situations where you are taking a certain decision? Let's say, for instance, that decision is, whether you want to attend that family function or not. But then you may not feel like attending the family function for whatever reason it might be. The moment your partner, your spouse says the family function needs to be attended to, you find it so difficult to say no, that out of fear, or for whatever reason, you end up saying yes even though you don't want to. And if you look back, most of the time you will see, even in your professional relationships, you will be finding it very difficult to say no. Now, why is this happening? When you're finding it very difficult to say no, the reason is this: if you say no, what will happen? If you say no, one thing that can happen is that the way that person thinks about you, the way that person sees you, is going to change. So if the person sees you in a very, very positive light, that is going to shift. So each time you are trying to please the other person, the deeper reason why you're doing it is because the impression the other people carry about you, which is a good impression, it should be maintained, or it should even get better. It should not fall below what it is now, which is about, wow, she's a very calm, very affectionate person, so very understanding person, and my impression should not fall below this. Imagine that there are 100 people in your life. If and all 100 people will carry some impression about you, and let's imagine that all those 100 people are carrying good impression about you, because those who are carrying negative impression, you in any case don't bother, right? So those 100 people are carrying good impression about you, but each of them sees you from his or her own perspective. Now, are you going to be agreeing or saying yes to each one of them so that your impression remains good? When you are doing this, you are actually trying to meet the desires of other person, so that in return you continue to gain acceptance, so that in return you continue to get the reward that you're getting. And the reward that you're getting by saying yes is feeling good about your own self. Now, there comes a point in time when your inner self gets tired of it. It says enough is enough, and you truly get fed up of meeting the desires of other people or continuously saying yes to other people, even for things that you don't agree with. When this inner self gets tired, that's the time your all your negative emotions show up, because now your body is, it says, now I can't do this anymore, because that's not me. That's a facade I am maintaining to feel good about myself. Then the anger, resentment, jealousy, you know all these emotions surface. You kind of, if I'm to use one word, a kind of, internal rebel you become. So the bottom line is what? Bottom line is you got to learn to say no to certain uh, people, certain situations, certain decisions. Right now, here I'm not talking about people you really love the most. I mean, if you love your mother very much and you're doing something to please her, it's perfectly fine, right? Your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your spouse, you're trying to please, it's okay. Again, I said it's a that's a different tangent, and we will speak about that little later, not today but some other day. But with respect to your other relationships, if that is what you're doing, you got to draw a line, you got to draw that boundary, and then learn to say no. That's the primary lesson. Now, how do you learn to say no? When somebody is put up, a situation where you got to take a decision, right? Let's take, for instance, quite a heated thing, where you have been invited by your in-laws for a family get together. Nobody, I mean, let's be fair and honest, most of the time you will see people will not want to go to family get together, especially on the in-laws side, as frequently as they might be happening. So you don't want to you don't want to say, you don't want to go. But the moment your partner comes and tells you that this is what, this date, this time you need to go, in your mind, in your heart, you're saying, oh no. But at the face of it, you're saying, all right, we'll go. Okay. Now, in scenarios like this, even in your professional scenarios, you got to take time. So you will very politely say, I will get back to you. Okay. I will get back to you. Then take that time off. And when you say this, two things will happen. The moment you tell the person that I will get back to you, that in itself gives you the buffer, gives that person the buffer, because having said this, even the other person is going to be mentally prepared somewhat to receive a no from you, right? So it would be approximately to the ratio of, say, about 30 to 40% that the other person is now mentally prepared that your answer need not be yes. So the moment you're asking for time, there is this presupposition that gets built up in the other person's mind, that the possibility of no is also there. So in that case, you've already prepared the other person. Okay. At your end, just sit with that thought, whether it is about a decision you have to take, whatever it is, just sit with that thought. Sometimes, when the situation is put up to you, at that moment you're angry, you're upset, you're, already churning so much of crap in your head. And then somebody is saying, okay, will you come to, this family gathering at this time? So calm down, come back to yourself, calm down, let little time go by, as much of time you have in your hand, let that time go by. And then, you've got to, suppose your decision is no, I'm not going. After you have calmed down, you will go back to that person and then give your decision with a bit of explanation. Now, because you are coming from a neutral state or a calm state, when you are saying no and, telling your reasons for it, the other person will also understand. because number one, that person was already kind of mentally prepared, and two, the state from which that you are coming and the reasons that you are giving, the other person is going to understand you, right? So understand that when you got to first stand up to know what exactly you want. Number two, you got to see that if it is not going in consonance with what the other person is saying, and you got to deny something, step back, take time, think about it, and then politely have little time for a discussion where you can explain the reason so that the other person will be able to understand now that you're coming from a very calm and a different space altogether. But the bottom line here is that you need not be doing those things time and again just to please others. You've got to also see what pleases you. At the same time, this doesn't mean, please, I want you to really understand this, that this doesn't mean that you don't care about anything or anybody. That's not true. If that is what it is, and you're coming from that place of revenge or anger or resentment, and then saying, okay, I'm going to stand, for myself, then that's a more of a rebellion that is coming from you. That needs to be worked on. Okay, because if that is where the you know it is coming from, that place of rebellion, then there are lot of blocks inside which need to be worked. And in any case, if you are finding it difficult to say no, then there are a lot of blocks inside that need to be worked. Ideally speaking, these blocks need to be removed through your own healing. That's a long path, very tough but beautiful path, and a path wherein you'll be able to sustain the new you. What I'm telling you here is a shortcut, nevertheless, a step to begin with. All right. So this is something you should be trying with your, in your circle, and but not at the cost of, I would say, not at the cost of you expressing your anger and rebelling and hurting the other person. Whether the relationship is maintained or it is one step, it's gone down by one step, but at that point of time you're going to be coming from a gentle place so that it doesn't hurt anybody. Okay, that's something that's very, very important with your loved ones, with somebody who you really love. Then of course you will be able to talk your heart out, right? And in that case, pleasing is what pleases you, pleases the other person. You're not going against yourself in that case. Okay, so that's it from me to you today. And any questions, please do feel free to write. There are questions that come at back end, but that's okay if that is what you want. So let the questions come back end. But what I really want is just keep practicing, keep practicing. And we are now left with 39 days to go out of this 100 days challenge. You have a lot that you need to work on so that you get to go in the right direction if you're working on yourself and on your relationship as well. Take care. I will be seeing you tomorrow. Bye, and you have a great evening.